And so anyway, then she says to me, "Dude, I don't like guys unless they're bald." Oh, what? Oh shit, are we live?
Oh, I think we just went live. I just saw it on here.
Yeah. Anyway, we were definitely talking about the top of your head too.
This is usually the part in the live stream that I do where I have that countdown video and music playing while two or three people make their way into the live stream show. But you usually do like little solos and stuff like that, improvise, right? You find that
It's because I'm not as high tech as you.
that's the reason. Then that is the explanation.
All I got are my hands
Yeah,
and my humble keyboard. Hey, folks.
me
I
and
have a few
Steve.
people matriculating in.
Yeah, me and Steve were having a technical issue. We haven't done this in a long time. We've never done a thing like we're doing tonight, but we haven't done this live on StreamYard together
Right.
in a while.
Maybe we should talk a little bit about what we're doing tonight that's different from what we normally do.
Sure. You want to take it or should I?
Well, let me first say that this is Kevin's brainchild, what we're doing tonight.
You can
And
blame me if it fails.
well, I was going to blame you anyway, unless it succeeded, and then I
Yeah.
was going to take credit. But so what we're going to be doing tonight here, guys, is a little bit different than when we just do like a regular live stream. We thought it would be kind of fun to have a conversation and some music. We're definitely going to play some songs, but we want to talk about things that we find interesting about the song, musically, lyrically. If there's a story we know about the production, and maybe chatter with each other a little bit about it. And of course, we'll look at the comments. If you guys have anything to offer or have any questions about a song or something, we want to make that part of the conversation too. But we thought rather than just do a by request show, which both of us kind of do, Kevin semi-regularly and me like every week, it would be more interesting, more fun for the two of us, and hopefully something interesting and a little fresh for you if you took the perspectives of two friends who just happen to also be professional musicians. And it's kind of like a podcast in a way. And so there will be more talking than usual, but there's still going to be a lot of music. And that's kind of what it is. And I'm not saying that we absolutely won't do requests. I'm just saying that that's
you're
not
not?
necessarily what's going to drive. I mean, if I see a request and I'm like, oh, that'd be a good one, and I know some things to say about it, I might do that. But we both came with some songs we wanted to play, and if everybody kind of likes it, especially if we enjoy doing it, maybe this is something we'll do, again and more often in the future. So
Yeah, to add on to what Steve was saying about that he does this regularly, I do it semi-regularly when it comes to the live stream, it's true, and we take requests. But I actually, half of what I do for a living is play live gigs for weddings and corporate events. And if it's not outright song requests, there's really, out of the 1,000+ songs on my list, I probably play the same 50 every gig that I have. So I said to Steve, rather than do our usual, let's take requests and play all the hits, let's maybe each play songs that we really love. And we haven't talked about these ahead of time, and so we're just going to roll with it. And
we wanted
hopefully
an
you
element
find
of
it
spontaneity.
Yeah, hopefully you find it interesting, and if you don't, then that's okay too. But I hope you do, and I guess we'll get to it. I think I'm going to take this first song,
All right.
and Steve's going to try and figure out a technical issue he was having.
I won't figure it out, but I am good. I'm going to let you have the screen,
positive.
and you can play, and then we'll see what comes from the what conversation springs from it. All right?
Yeah.
Have at it, my friend.
All right, so yeah, this first song here is a song that I've always loved. It's by a guy named Martin Page, and I think it came out, I believe it was in the early 90s, but I'm not 100% certain. And it's a song called "In the House of Stone and Light." So I'm gonna try this song here, and again, this is songs I never get to play live, and I love them. So here we go.
Old Monte Carlos uncover me. Come my restoration and wash my body clean. As I've been walking along the crooked path where the walls are falling, broken me in half. I'm telling you, I will not rest till I lay down in my head. I'm gonna go in the house of stone and light. I shall not cry for the blind man I leave behind. When I go in the house of stone and light, in the house of stone and light. Oh, little lady, show me my soul. Tell me of that place where I must surely go. Oh, men waiting at the gates for me. Give me the wisdom, give me the key. I'm telling you, I will not rest till I lay down my head. Gonna go in the house of stone and light. I'm on my way, oh, gonna be such a beautiful day. In the house of stone and light, in the house of stone and light. In the house of stone and light. It's been too long, my spirit's been at war. Have a super shame and let me be reborn. I will embrace the sun upon my face. Come the day when I'll wake the child inside. In the house of stone and light. When I go, I will open up my eyes. In the house of stone and light. In the house of stone and light. In the house of stone and light. I'm going inside. In the house of stone and light. Looking for the child. In the house of stone and light.
Cool tune. Hey, if anyone heard me going, ah, and like
I was wondering what that was.
honking on my harmonica, I apologize. I took myself off the screen and I was doing a little vocal warm up, and then I realized maybe my mic isn't muted. So
Do you do warm-ups prior to performances?
I try. I usually do, yeah. I really do try. I didn't for a long time, and that's why I've been having some vocal challenges.
Yeah, you know, that's an aspect of what I do that I have never adopted, and I really should. I mean, I think you see even like James Hetfield from Metallica doing his vocal warm-ups.
Well, I think that for whatever reason, the way that you sing is less likely to cause issues for you.
How so? I'm curious.
Well, I can just tell that, like, you know, here's a really good indicator. Like, you never seem to lose your falsetto voice, which means that you're not putting a lot of strain on your vocal folds. So in sort of like just naturally, you were doing a better job than I was of getting your air from down here and kind of singing from your diaphragm.
Well, I
And
always try
there's
to get the
less-
same kind of power that you have.
What's that?
I always try to get the same kind of power that you have singing.
Well, I appreciate that, but I'm just saying that I can just tell you never have the kind of strain that I do, and it's not because I couldn't have learned. You can have power and not put strain on your vocal folds, but I kind of built a bad habit in my youth, and so it's not like my voice isn't in terrible shape. I'm just doing some rehabbing, and so
Got
I
it,
do
yeah.
a lot more of this kind of thing where I sit, and go.
I should probably do stuff like that. It would be helpful. Yeah, when I first started singing, I was in college, so maybe I don't know, 20 years ago, and those early years, I would literally sing a song, one song. Aside from it not sounding good, I would lose my voice because I was doing everything in the throat. It was like a horrible John Mayer impression or something. So then later on, a couple years later, I had a couple of voice lessons, and they taught me about breathing the right way when singing, and it really kind of helps. It's like I sing basically the way that I talk. I'm not holding back anything, if that makes sense. Before it was like, I was just trying to do this, and I thought that sounded good. But anyways.
Well, whatever it is, it's working out nice. I dig it.
Thank you.
So anyway, that's I do try to do some warm ups just because it's more apparent to me than ever. Hey, Bill, I saw this.
So my mic is a lot louder than Steve's. Interesting. Okay, Mike,
I brought my level up just a little bit to see. Let me know if it's getting better or worse.
Yeah,
But,
and if I need to come down, I can. So
anyway, I am just very aware. I'm 46, still feel young, but I am very aware of the fact that like I want to be doing this and I want to do it well for a long time to come, and so I need to really take care of myself now at this point. So I'm trying to learn more about how to do maintenance. So tell me a little bit about that song, man. Like that was a beautiful tune. I don't think I've ever heard it.
you've never heard that song? I hate when people say that. Oh, you've never seen that movie? You've never seen that movie? I hate that.
Once
but
we got
I'm sorry.
into the 90s, I stopped listening to the radio for one thing.
Yeah, I've always loved that song, and I think it came out in the 90s because I remember it as a kid and hearing it and even liking it then. And it's pretty complex. Some of the it's actually a tone higher in the recording, and I don't tend to like to lower the key, but it's a bit high, and I think it still works in this key. But I've always loved that that little solo thing, though. Yeah. So listen to that song. It's amazing.
Yeah,
You'll thank me later for
absolutely
that one. Yeah.
And this brings up an interesting conversation before I move on to mine about lowering keys and stuff. There's two schools of thought out there about this, and the one that I've come down in, I don't know whether I'm right, but it's the one that supports what I need it to be for me to do the job. And that is, I don't really care most of the time what key a song is being done in. I care about, is it in the right place in that person's range, And I think that sometimes people who lower the key in songs, they go too far down, and so the parts that are supposed to sound challenging don't sound challenging enough.
Yeah.
And I think that is more of a problem. And of course, like I say, this is a parochial reason for me because I just was not, by an accident of genetics, I just don't have that range. I have a lower range. And so it's like, if it wasn't okay to drop everything a whole tone or sometimes even a minor third, basically 90% of the songs I've loved my whole life, I would never get to play.
Right. And that makes a lot of sense. And I'm with you on that as far as you got to play what you're comfortable playing and singing. I do think that there are certain songs that I hear, especially obviously with Billy Joel, where it loses something when it goes too low. Yeah, it's like it loses that kind of sweet spot as far as the key goes, and he's not hitting those certain notes or something sounds off.
He's made it. I think he's gone down a whole tone a lot of times when it really should be a half tone for where his voice is leveled
Probably
out.
easier for the musicians.
And it might be, although, you know, I personally, I think you have guitar techs and stuff, you know, have a version of your guitar that's detuned to half step. I don't,
Right.
you know, but I just think that quite often he's taken a song, like a great example is, and I'm not playing the whole song, but I'll just play a snippet of it, you know, this one. Right?
Yeah.
And you get to the part where he's, well, your mother told you all that I could give you was a reputation, that thing. And it's supposed to sound challenging,
Yeah.
you know? And I get it that his voice has deepened a little bit, but he's down a whole tone, and it's like it hasn't deepened quite that much. And as a result, you sound like you're coasting through it a little bit too easily, and it doesn't have the punch that it used to have. You know?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that example up because I was just watching the other day when Billy Joel debuted his new, it wasn't a whole new band, but it was a new drummer. I think it was in 2005. He played on The Ellen Show, and they played Only the Good Die Young in C, in the original. And he was straining a bit, but it really worked. And then once that tour started later that year, they brought it down. So,
Yeah.
interesting.
So, all right. Well, I'm going to do a song now. And the one I'm going to do, I want to talk a little bit about Phil Collins. And he's an artist that I think has been criminally underrated
I agree.
because of how commercially successful he was.
Which is
And I
bullshit.
think he gets a lot of crap for that he doesn't deserve. I think that he's a brilliant singer and a brilliant songwriter, and just really like had one of the most, when you combine what he did with Genesis and what he did in his solo career from like 1970, we'll say from about 78 until the mid 90s. That is one of the most incredible runs of
Genius.
consistent, great music I've ever heard from anyone.
Not only great pop music, but complex, musically really complex stuff.
Yeah,
And, I mean,
like
it's just
not just
genius.
3-chord wonders,
No.
like good stuff. And I know that in Genesis, those are largely their co-writes with Mike and Tony, but his solo stuff is not
Also.
super easy either. So I want to play a song that I really love from his solo catalog, and it came out on a huge record called "No Jacket Required," and we had it in the family cassette collection. My mom was a member of like Columbia House or something,
cool.
you know, one of those places where they'd give you like, you know, you sign up and they give you like 8 tapes for a penny, and then they start charging you, and you get a new tape every month. Something
Back
like that.
when receiving music on physical media was exciting, an exciting experience.
Yeah, and I mean I listened to this one from back to front, the No Jacket Required, and
Cool.
anyway, so I'm gonna take you off screen, and I'm gonna play this beautiful
All right.
tune called "One More Night." Been trying for so long to let you know how I feel. And if I stumble, if I fall, just help me back so I can make you see. Please give me one more night. Give me one one more night, 'cause I can't wait forever. Give me one more night, give me just one more night, one more night, 'cause I can't wait forever. I've been sitting here so long, just wasting time, just staring at the phone. And I was wondering, should I call you? Then I thought, maybe you're not alone. Please give me one more night, give me just one more night, one more night, 'cause I can't wait forever. Give me one more night, give me just one more night, one more night, 'cause I can't wait forever. Like a river to the sea, I will always be with you. And if you sail away, I will follow you. Give me one more night, give me just one more night, oh, one more night, 'cause I can't wait forever. I know it. Sorry about that, guys. Ever. Now I lost my place in the words. I know there'll never be a time I'll ever feel the same, and I know it's only words, but if you change your mind, you know that I'll be here. Maybe we both can learn. Give me just one more night, give me one more night, one more night, I can't wait forever. Give me one more night, give me one more night, one more night, 'cause I can't wait forever. All right. We bring Kevin back up.
Nice.
Thank you. Especially like the part where I forgot the chords and lost my place in the lyrics.
That's what makes it interesting.
Exactly. No, I just think Phil Collins is an underrated talent, and I think it's been an absolute tragedy, the health problems that he's faced later in life, because he was a terrific performer too. You know,
Amazing. I got to see him in concert on his last tour in 2008 or 19, I think. I went with my wife, and it was amazing. He was sitting down, but his voice is not where it was, but it's pretty close, and it was probably the last opportunity to see him. But yeah, it was a bummer. He's amazing. One of my favorite songs from Phil Collins with Genesis is "Follow You, Follow Me," and I've over the years tried to figure out how to play it and play an arrangement. And I just can't. Something about the production of that song and the arrangement, I cannot get it to sound right. So I always abandon it.
I think I've found something that works for me, but like one of the things that I think this dovetails nicely with is a question that came in that I thought we might want to discuss. Someone said, talk about when you started playing piano, at what ages, and when did you say I'm an expert now? and this is from Joel Lobson. And I don't know if either one of us would claim to be an expert at this
No way,
point in time.
not even close.
But that's the nature of being a musician, though, because like you have this tendency to always judge yourself by what you can't yet do instead of by what you can now already do.
That's right.
And so you inevitably meet somebody who's good at something that you're not good at, and then you make the false assumption that they're good at what you're good at too.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, I suck compared to that guy. But the reason I want to point this out is that you and I have like different. It's weird. We approach music similarly. We have different styles of piano playing, and you're much more melodic and flowing, and I would say more technically precise than me. And I play more like a percussionist in a way. I wanted to be a drummer first, and so when I'm playing, like I'm much less precise in my execution on the notes.
Right.
But what I have is I have kind of a wicked timing thing, and I do a lot of like offbeat, weird accents and stuff and it's like I'm playing bongos, and that kind of helps when you're doing that follow you, follow me thing, because it's like in order to get it, it's like. Stay with me. And it's just like all this constant offbeat stuff, and I feel like I'm playing congas instead of playing
that's what it
piano.
is. And there's in the production, I mean, there's like a delay or something there's an echo with the guitars, and it's just, it works.
And I don't think you can actually copy that, but I think you can capture the essence. It takes a little banjo finger action.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
But
and,
tell me about when did you start taking lessons and stuff?
I mean, I started playing, I think, when I was about 7, played by ear like you, I think, right? Is that what you play?
I didn't start out playing by ear. I just took lessons because my mom told me you're going to take lessons in second grade, so about 7.
Yeah, no. So I started playing by ear, and then I started taking lessons, I guess, shortly after that. But it was a struggle for me. I mean, to read the music was really hard. Not because I didn't like the music. It's just because my brain just didn't work when reading the notes on the page. So that's, I stuck with playing by ear. And then when I was in high school, I played in the jazz band and learned how to read chord charts, and that was probably the most valuable piece of musical education that I have ever gotten.
That was for me. That was like being handed a skeleton key to the vault that music is hidden behind.
Exactly. So now it's, you don't need to just rely on your ears to figure out a song, and you don't need to know how to read music if you know how to at least read the chord charts, most of the way there. So, and to answer his question, I'm sorry, I forgot his name that was up there. I can't pull up Joel. I can't pull up the comments on my end, but I'm definitely not a piano expert, not even close. I would say if I'm an expert in anything, it's more so when it comes to my gigs and how many years I've been playing gigs and putting together a performance that is fitting for each event. I think I'm more of an expert in doing that than I am just as a piano player. So if that makes sense. I think
I don't know if I could. You probably would resonate with this. I felt like nothing special. Now, when I say I didn't play by ear, I tried. Like I could start picking melodies and stuff out early on.
Right.
But I wasn't. I had no idea how. Like I had no concept of what to do with my other hand or anything like that. But I could. One of my first by ear things actually was around Christmas time, and I was playing around at the very top end of the note or the piano, and I went, that kind of sounds like Jingle Bell Rock. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell, and then I got a little more nuanced and figured out it was. And so little stuff like that was taking place. But when I learned chord symbols, I was 12. And it was just on a fluke. I was a fluke. I was ready to give up the piano, actually. I didn't want to take lessons anymore. I felt like I'd taken 5 years of lessons. I learned, the fundamentals enough so that, like, if you ask me, well, so you can't read music? And I'm like...
I get that all the time, right? Don't you hear that from everybody?
But I can't.
I can't, but I can't at all.
Well, but I mean, like, I can tell you, if I look at the staff, I can tell you what the notes are that are written.
You can? I don't know if I can.
I mean, I can identify that's a middle C, but like you can't, when you're trying to read and play, you can't stop and go, all cars eat gas.
Yeah.
Or every good boy does
That's why I haven't
fine.
heard that one. I haven't heard all cars eat gas.
All cows eat grass, all cars eat
That's funny.
grass.
I haven't heard that one.
Face.
Face, yeah, I know.
And I'm just like, so I can't do that. I can't just sight read, but I can identify what a note on the staff is, and I know what a key signature is. So I know D major has 2 sharps, but I don't, at the end of the day, I just don't really, you can't ask me to do anything, important that way. I will get lost. I always, and I don't mean this in any way as like I don't want to be careless with how I throw this term around, but I always thought I had like kind of something akin to like dyslexia for reading music. It never made sense to me. But then if you played a recording of a piano piece and then I could watch it on the score as I'm listening to it, it would finally make sense to me. And then I might be able to, because I know how it's supposed to sound, I might be able to piece something together from what's on the staff. But it was just, but it'll take me a long time. And so when I learned chord symbols, boy, I was off to the races because it just broke me free from all the garbage.
Yeah, same.
So I think for me, that's when I started to feel like, oh, you know what, I'm better than the average piano player sometime in early high school. And then as I've gotten older, I feel like I'm worse and worse at the piano because I've gotten to know other people who've really, really excelled at the piano. But I'm Kevin. I'm like Kevin in that my expertise is more in the total package. I know how to sing while I play. I know how to deliver a ballad. I know how to deliver a rocker. I know how to have some grace and some presence while I do that. And I'm really good in the genres that I'm good in, and I'm pretty mediocre in the genres I'm not good in.
I want to say hi to my buddy Mark Bosserman, who was a really talented piano player and singer out of Clearwater, and he's there watching. And Jake, I see your requests. You happen to have so we're not really playing requests tonight, but you happen to have a song that I was gonna play. But if you stick around, I'll play it in a little while. So Jake, stick around. I'll play that in a bit.
So anyway, what do you want to do next, Kevin? We've talked this one out.
That's all right. I'm going to. Yeah, did we lose everyone on that last stretch? Okay.
No, not at
all. My son, I get to introduce music that I love to my son Ray, who is 3.5 almost, and that's a lot of fun because he really gets a lot of it, and he liked "You Can Call Me Out" by Paul Simon. He also likes "Diamonds on the Soles of Her Shoes," which is funny. So we sing that. He goes to, when I put him down to bed, we'll sing it for a while. But anyways, segue here is Paul Simon. I'm gonna do definitely top 2 or 3 favorite Paul Simon songs. Also, not certain about the chords here. They're a little bit complex and they move around a bit, quite a bit faster than others. It's a slow song, but there's a lot of chord changes between every other word. So this is called American Tune.
All right.
Let's see.
Many is the time I've been mistaken, and many times confused. Yes, and I've often felt forsaken, and certainly misused. I'm alright, I'm alright. Just weary to my bones. Still you don't expect to be bright and born. Live on so far away from home, so far away from home. I don't know a soul who's not been battered. Don't have a friend who feels at ease. I don't know a dream that's not been shattered or driven to its knees. Oh, but it's alright, it's alright, for we live so well so long. Still, when I think of the road we're traveling on, I wonder what's gone wrong. Can't help but wonder what's gone wrong. And I dreamed I was dying. I dreamed that my soul rose unexpectedly, and looking back down at me, smiled reassuringly. And I dreamed I was flying high up above. My eyes could clearly see the Statue of Liberty sailing away to sea. And I dreamed I was flying. We come on the ship they call the Mayflower. We come on the ship that sailed the moon. We come in the age's most uncertain hours and sing an American tune. Oh, but it's alright, it's alright. You can be forever blessed. Still, tomorrow's gonna be another working day, and I'm trying to get some rest. That's all I'm trying, to get some rest.
Beautiful. I've never heard that one before.
Wow.
I am not a deep cut with Paul Simon guy, so I probably need to check out some of his.
Yeah, and let me just say this: the objective of what we're doing tonight, at least on my end, is not, oh, let me find the deepest cut of a song so I can look, like I know what I'm doing musically and I want to put one over. I'm really just playing songs that I love, whether they're deep cuts or not. So I love that song, and I love the last one. So that's why I'm
the
playing
fun
it.
thing, though. I always used to love to listen to albums. And the thing that's one of the things that made me such a Billy Joel fan was that I wanted to listen to albums front to back, and nobody has a better, like, I'm sorry, I've never, not the Beatles, nobody.
I agree.
More consistently delivered from track 1 to track 10.
Yep.
Every time.
Even on The Bridge, which he says is kind of his weaker album.
Oh, and he needs to go get stuffed on that. That is a kick-ass album.
I agree. I'm with you 100%. From top to bottom. And he always says, like, his stuff is not about singles. He never liked the release of just releasing a single, because it's just one piece, whether it's a concept album or not, which most aren't. It's just one part of a bigger piece of art, really.
Yeah. Well, and certainly, his singles are great, but
I agree.
I mean, you don't hit the top 40 like 33 times without writing great hits. But a lot of times they had to like trim them and all kinds of stuff to make them short enough for the radio. But so often, at least every single album, I could name 2 or 3 songs that I think are probably my absolute favorites from that record that never got heard by the masses, except for the.
Give me one, because I got one off the top of my head.
Oh God, name an album, and then I'll tell you my favorite.
You know, I'm not sure which album this is on. Through the Long Night. Is that on?
That's on Glass Houses.
Oh, it's on Glass Houses. Okay.
I love that song.
Oh, it's amazing.
I love C'est Toi off that album, and I
love
All for Lena on that album is
Same.
phenomenal.
Which is a little bit more well known than the other
yeah,
ones.
but it wasn't a hit.
No.
You know, it wasn't like Still Rock and Roll to Me or
No.
you know, you just go through one that I love off that album, and I'm not prepared to play the whole thing, but I think it's a great little fun song. Is
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't want to be alone anymore. And
So good.
So I'm a big fan, and I always wanted to find that with other artists, but nobody else's albums delivered from front to back like that.
I agree 100%.
But
I
if
mean,
you
maybe the
don't-
Beatles, but
They're the closest.
They're the closest.
But even
Yeah.
they have some stinkers. And what I was always blown away by was they were all written by him
Yeah.
and just him. You know, it was like, oh my God, like you're not covering anybody. Except for the one song that Cyndi Lauper helped finish the words on.
right,
It
which is
was
a good
like-
song.
Yeah.
So are we going to talk about the elephant in the room?
What's that?
I mean, we're talking about Billy here, and we're talking about singles, and we're talking about his songs. Are we going to discuss the new release at all, or have you had it with that one?
Well, no, I was a little more measured in how I approached that one. You overdosed on it the first time.
I did. I mean, hey, I have a new Billy Joel song after 30
I
years.
just knew that I would
new
be
Billy
asked
Joel
to play it
song.
every week for a while, and therefore I decided to pace myself with it on purpose.
Yeah, can I just give my 2 thoughts about it? I'm going to make it really quick, and then we'll move on. I'm really excited and really surprised that he decided to do this. I wonder why he did it. If it takes collaborating with someone to bring him out and back into pop music, then that's really cool. At the same time, I can't help but listen to the song and say, man, this is a really good song. And I want to know that he wrote those words. And I don't know that. I don't know which words he wrote, if any. Or maybe he wrote 1 or 2 to swap out another. Maybe he wrote most of the song. They haven't revealed that, and that's bothering me a little bit.
I have a sneaking suspicion that this is pretty much a Charlie Wexler song, and that
Freddie Wexler, yeah.
Freddie Wexler. Sorry, I don't know why I said Charlie.
Yeah.
I always get Charlie and Freddie mixed. Anyway, I'm pretty sure this is a Freddie Wexler song that Billy Joel made a few minor edits to.
I'm with you there, yeah. I think so.
And that's okay. It's the first time I can say this. It sounds like a Billy Joel song. And that is good, because all my life didn't sound like a Billy Joel song. It was a fun little thing that he did, but it didn't sound like a Billy Joel song. And interestingly enough, I have always loved about Billy Joel, I got to throw this in there. I've always loved how his compositions can be inspired by the style of somebody. So like you listen to the Innocent Man album and it's like, oh, here's one that sounds like a Sam Cooke song, and here's one that sounds like the Four Seasons or whatever. And his voice is always perfect for his songs that are inspired by something like that. I've never cared for him as a cover artist. He's okay at that, but I don't really like listening to Billy Joel sing other people's music. I like hearing him sing his music.
Right, and we don't know if this is his music or if it's Freddie Wexler's music or.
But if it isn't his music, it's the first time that I've been really enthused by his cover of somebody else's song.
Right,
Because
sure.
it sounds like a Billy Joel song for once.
Yeah, and I don't want to criticize Billy Joel. I think it's awesome that he's doing this. So on any level that he's creating something new, I'll take it.
Yeah,
Enough about
I will
that.
too. And ultimately, I'm just old enough at this point in time where I'm like, dude, you've earned the right to do whatever you want. So if you want to do this, go for it. And if you don't feel like doing anything, don't do it.
And I hope there's more coming.
Yeah, I have my private thoughts sometimes and my private critiques, but ultimately I'm just grateful that he's still in the game at whatever level, and I'll be forever grateful for what he has done for my life. And on that note, I want to tell a story to lead into the next song I'm going to do.
Cool.
I don't know how you feel about crooners, but I'm kind of a little bit of a fan of like Sinatra and Dean Martin and those things. And but they aren't my sweet spot. But every once in a
Same.
while, I kind of get in the mood for that, and I've learned to really enjoy performing those from time to time. You know, throw a few in. So we go back to 2000, the year 2000, and early 2001, and I'm in my early 20s, and freshly married to my now ex. But it was an exciting time in my life, and trying to figure out who I was going to be when I grew up, and I needed a gig. I wasn't pursuing it full time, but I needed a gig so that I could make some extra spending money. And there was this place downtown in Kearney, Nebraska called the Alley Rose that had a grand piano set up, and they would hire on Friday and Saturday nights people to come and play piano music for 3 hours, and they pay you $10 an hour plus the tip jar.
Damn, hit the lottery there.
Yeah, it was terrible, but I didn't really, at that point, I didn't really have enough gear to really do anything with anybody else. And I couldn't find a band at that time either, because the sort of postmodern alternative revolution had taken place in the 90s with, like, you know, Nirvana and Smashing Pumpkins and all this, like, they just didn't need a keyboard player anymore, and so in order to cut costs, all the bands just dropped keyboard players.
Right.
And then whatever stuff from the 70s and 80s they played, they'd just choose stuff where they didn't need a keyboardist. So I was kind of without a gig, and I needed some money to start amassing some gear. And so I started signing up for shifts at this place. It was like first come, first serve, put your name in the calendar. And I'd take all that money home, and I usually, at the end of the night, you'd get your $30, and then you would get, I usually made somewhere in the neighborhood of $50, $50 or $60 in tips. And I'd take that home, and I'd stick it in my underwear drawer and just kind of let it pile up until until there was enough to do something with. And I got to be honest, there were times when I was like, I can't believe this is the gig I'm playing. This kind of sucks. They didn't let you sing. There's too much noise.
It was just instrumental.
So, and I'm terrible at that. I don't play the melody very often, so I was doing a lot of just comping chords. I was just like, and then you'd get to the part where there's a vocal, and I would just be like, and that's my background music.
It's hard to play the melody on some songs when you're used to singing
I'm just
it.
not good at that. I mean, I have a way to do it. I'm better at it today than I was then, but it was never what I wanted to do, but it was what was available. So I remember there was a lot of kind of a stretch there for about, 4 to 6 weeks where I was like, I can't really give this up because I need the cash. But I'm really not that happy doing this. And I felt like I was kind of phoning it in. You know, I wasn't really giving it my best. And I'm playing this one night, and a woman came over, and she dropped a $100 bill in my tip jar, which at that time just shocked the living crap out of me because it didn't happen very often. I was like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
And she said, do you mind if I talk to you for just a minute? Can you take a short break? And so I stopped playing, and she said, the last time I was in here was 6 weeks ago. And it was the last night that I had with my husband before he got too sick to really engage much in life. He had been suffering with cancer, and he was not very well that night and couldn't hold any food down or anything, but they just wanted to go out. They just wanted to go do something. And so he and her in his very frail state came out, and they sat, and he just watched her eat. He didn't eat anything, but he just watched her eat. It was a chance to have a date.
Right.
And the next day, he fell very, very ill, went unconscious, and went to the hospital. He did regain consciousness at some point, but he was basically on hospice care and couldn't walk and talk, and basically it was the last cognizant night that she had with him. And she said, and your music that night was the highlight of the whole evening. It just absolutely made the evening for us, and you played our favorite song. And I'm listening to this thinking, oh my God, I feel so guilty for the attitude that I've been bringing to the gigs.
Sure,
you know?
I can relate
and,
to the attitude.
And so she said, she tapped me on the shoulder and she said, you were the soundtrack to the ending of my movie. Thank you.
Wow.
Anyway,
That's a good line.
it was a real good lesson for me that I've taken forward forever, because I know you can appreciate this, Kevin. When you do this for a living and you play 100 or 120 gigs in a year, you cannot always put yourself in the shoes of your audience and what those moments might be meaning to them, because for you it is Friday.
Right, it's
Friday,
a job.
It's Saturday, it's my
Yeah.
work. And also you don't want to become one of these jackasses who takes yourself so seriously all the time that you just, are insufferable. But it taught me something that, whether I was ever going to be famous or not or whatever, that I am the instrument through which people can experience something they really love and that's really meaningful to their life. And I promised myself that night that I would not phone it in anymore. Like, even if I didn't particularly want to be there, I was going to give it everything that I had that night and honor the fact that it could be a really, really special moment, or it could produce some special moment for somebody, because I don't know what anybody's going through in their life who's at one of these gigs, whether it's background music or a concert. And so I try to bring that with me every time I play a Sunday live stream and every time I play an event or a party or a concert or whatever, because I'll never forget what it felt like to have that woman say that to me, and to know that I might have been having kind of a shitty attitude about doing it. And if I had understood what was happening at that moment, I would have been honored to be, in that position. And so I'm going to play the song. It's a Frank Sinatra cut that
Cool.
that she said I played that night. Anyway.
Go for it.
Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel the glow just thinking of you and the way you look tonight. Lovely, with your smile so warm and your cheek is so soft. There is nothing for me but to love you and the way you look tonight. With each word, your tenderness flows, tearing my fear apart. And that laugh that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart. You're lovely, don't you ever change. keep your foolish charm. Won't you please arrange it, 'cause I love you, and the way you look tonight. And that laugh that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart. You're lovely, don't you ever change. Keep your foolish charm. Won't you please arrange it, 'cause I love you, and the way you look tonight. And the way you look tonight.
Nice.
Thank you, sir.
Very nice. Classic. Can't go wrong with that.
Right on. See
Cool.
if anybody has any other conversation sparkers.
Yeah. There were a bunch of comments. I can't bring them up, but
I have an interesting. I love how conversations break out among the people watching during the live streams, and it's kind of fun to eavesdrop on them. There's a good one happening over here about Peter Gabriel era Genesis versus Phil Collins era Genesis.
I'm not that familiar with Peter Gabriel's era of Genesis. I know people say, "Oh, that was the real Genesis," but I know Peter Gabriel's solo stuff, but never really got to diving into the early Genesis stuff.
I love his voice.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Ultimately, I'm glad that what happened because I think that Genesis continued. Like, there's sort of a myth that Genesis stopped being a progressive rock band.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, if you listen to their albums,
No.
they never stopped making really, really ambitious, adventurous musical stuff, because a lot of that was fueled by Tony and Mike anyway.
Yeah.
But I think that bringing Phil to the forefront like that, both as a writer and a singer, helped them have more balance as a band. And I'm just grateful. Like, I think that they did such a great catalog of hits after Phil came to the helm that I think it would have been really a shame for their entire legacy if that hadn't happened, because I think a lot of people have heard other Genesis work because of the popularity of that music.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Such a great band.
Okay.
They just did their last tour
I know.
a couple of years ago.
Amy Dix, how you doing? Good to have you with us. So, let me see here.
Rhonda Mitchell. Yeah, never heard the Paul Simon song, but how beautiful. Yeah, I agree. It's amazing. And then it was a Paul Simon solo, but there are some performances that he did with Garfunkel singing that, and it was great.
Getting Closer. That's a great example of one of those songs that like wasn't a hit single, but that might be my favorite tune on that whole record. I love that song with Stevie Winwood. Anyway, what's up next?
Talk about
for
a
you,
genius. Man? Yeah, talk about a genius, Steve Winwood.
Oh, he makes me feel depressed about myself if I think about it too much.
Who did I see in concert that he was on the bill? And I can't remember. Oh, I think it was Tom Petty, maybe. Steve Winwood.
Actually,
opened.
he's on the Eagles right now.
Is he on the Eagles tour?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm saying because I saw Steve Winwood live when I think it was with Tom Petty, but I don't remember. It was something like that years ago.
Tom Petty, and I love artists like Petty and the Doobie Brothers, and another one that kind of falls in that blank would be like Christopher Cross. Guys that I could never in a million years say are my favorite, but they just they made great music. You know, they just made good music.
Oh yeah, I mean Christopher Cross, I love it.
They didn't change how music is made. They didn't change how it's written or produced, but you could just count on them to make really, really good stuff.
Yeah, talk about a complex song, Christopher Cross. Arthur's theme is pretty complex, right? You're right.
Well, it's co-written by Burt Bacharach, who is like one of the great producers
Oh, see, I didn't know
of
that.
all time.
Oh, I didn't know that. But man, there's some crazy changes in that one.
Yeah.
And it's way up there. That's a song where I don't really play it because I feel like if I don't play it in that range, it loses something. So I've tried it a couple, keys lower, and it just doesn't sound right to me. But anyways, next song I was gonna do here, me and Steve had a conversation, not to bring up the Billy Joel thing again, but not that there's anything wrong with it. We were talking
I think
about
our audience likes Billy Joel, Kevin.
Yeah.
Let's just roll with it. Okay?
Well, to bring up the thing about the new song, and then you obviously make the comparisons with Elton John, and Billy Joel has made the joke all the time. Elton John says, "Oh, Billy, you should release new music," and Billy Joel says, "Oh, Elton, you should release less music," and it's a funny joke, but I always appreciate that Elton John continues to write and record and release new music, even if most people aren't going to hear it and most people don't buy it. But in the many albums he's put out over the decades, and there are a ton, there are some gems in there, and one of them, to me, I think was a turning point for him. I mean, he's talked about it, where it was the 90s. He had I think he was still trying to stay on top as far as the charts go and as far as popularity goes. And his records, production-wise, and the songs, he was still trying to be that guy on the top of the charts.
At least he was trying to get, I want to own the adult contemporary chart if I can't own the Hot 100.
Right.
There was a specific kind of sound that followed him around from, the one all the way through.
Exactly. Yeah. So then in 2000, I think, or 2001, he did songs from the West Coast, right? Songs from the West Coast, right? Which is an amazing album, and production-wise, it just sounds, it's super stripped back. I think he recorded it on tape, and there's very little reverb and echo, and especially on this song, there's barely any. It sounds really, his voice is really dry and up front. So anyways, I've always loved this song, and I'm going to try, this is I Want Love. And in the recording, there's actually an echo on the piano, which I can't do that right now. But anyway, so let me see how this sounds. I'm gonna bring down the reverb a little bit on this one, so I can match the album.
It's impossible. A man like me, so irresponsible. A man like me is dead in places other men feel liberated, but I can't love shot full of holes. Don't feel nothing, I just feel cold. Don't feel nothing, just old scars. Toughening up around my heart, but I want love, just a different kind. I want love, won't break me down, won't break me up, won't fence me in. I want a love that don't mean a thing. That's the love I want. I want love. Maybe I carry too much baggage. Oh man, I've seen so much traffic. So I want love, just a different kind. I want love, won't break me down, won't break me up, won't fence me in. I want a love that don't mean a thing. That's the love I want. I want love. So bring it on. I've been bruised. Don't give me love this clean and smooth. I'm ready for the rougher stuff. No sweet romance, I've had enough. Try it again. No sweet romance, I've had enough. What the hell is that? I've had enough. Let me try that again. Erase. No sweet romance, I've had enough. But I want love, just a different kind. I want love, won't break me down, won't break me up, won't fence me in. I want a love that don't mean a thing. That's the love I want. I want love. That damn key change at the end of the bridge there. It always gets me.
I live for the mistakes.
That's a. Yeah. Damn it.
I love learning stuff as I'm playing it in front of a live audience. It's my favorite. Okay.
Did I get the reverb right on that? It was I brought it back. Did it sound a bit drier?
It sounded pretty good to me.
Yeah.
You know.
You know,
what do you guys think?
Yeah,
And don't hold back. Like, if you think he sucks, tell
You
him
can
he
put that.
sucks. If you think I suck, don't say it. I can't handle it. I have nowhere near the thick skin that Kevin does. But he will thrive on your critique.
That's true. And then we'll talk about it after, Steve. You know, it's
So
yeah, almost as but just to wrap it up about that song and music in general for me, I'm almost as passionate about the production and the mix on these songs and these albums than I am, you know, as I am about the songs themselves and the performances. So, you know, I listened to that song. I love the song and I love the production on it. I love that you hear his voice is right up front and it sounds way different than just about anything he had done before that, at least since the early 70s. Anyways.
agreed. I love that whole album. Actually.
Sean had to leave the room. He was so embarrassed with that mess up there. She's like,
Well, he hadn't seen anything yet. I'm calling an audible because of the conversation we had. Yeah, this one was written by Christopher Cross and Carol Bayer Sager, who was Burt Bacharach's writing partner, and Burt, of course. And I just think this is a brilliant piece of work. And I don't know, maybe it does. Maybe the song intrinsically loses something by going down a couple of keys.
you doing Arthur's theme?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But for me, it feels right when I do it because this is as high as I can possibly do it. And
I think you should do it higher. Let's go, Steve. Come on. Tonight's the
There
night.
just isn't anything available above where I'm going to do it. Otherwise, I would. Because I know that it does lose something if it needs to sound like your voice is at the top of its of its peak. I think otherwise it'll lose something in the timbre. So that's my take on it. But I love this song. I think it's just feel good.
Cool. Sean wants Mariah Carey higher.
Right. Definitely going to need lyrics for this one. Okay. Once in your life you find someone who turns your heart around. Next thing you know, you're chosen down the town. Wake up and it's still with you, even though you left your way across town. Wondering to yourself, hey, what have I found? When you get caught between the moon and New York City, I know it's crazy, but it's true. If you get caught between the moon and New York City, the best that you can do, the best that you can do is fall in love. All that he does as he pleases, all of his life is master's toys, and deep in his heart he's just a boy, living his life one day at a time and showing himself a really good time and laughing about the way they want him to be. When you get caught between the moon and New York City, I know it's crazy, but it's true. If you get caught between the moon and New York City, the best that you can do, the best that you can do is fall in love. When you get caught between the moon and New York City, I know it's crazy, but it's true. If you get caught between the moon and New York City, the best that you can do, the best that you can do is fall in love. Get caught between the moon and New York City, the best that you can do, the best that you can do is fall in love.
Nice. That's a tough song on multiple levels.
Oh, it's so good though.
It is.
It's just like there's not a bad chord in the whole thing.
Yeah, no, he's a brilliant guy, and he still sounds really good. I don't know if you've seen recent concert footage from him, but he's
I saw
awesome.
him live in person about 10 years ago, and it was fantastic. He was with America, which was also a really fun show.
Cool. Yeah, well, I'm trying to look to see timing wise what I have time to do. I have time for like one more song or two more songs. What do you think, Steve? Based on the time?
Let's try to both squeeze one more in before we close it out for the night.
Okay, so this has been fun. I mean, it's been fun for me. Has it been fun for you, Steve?
Well, yeah, because I don't know if you guys are aware. Well, I think some of you are aware of it because I brag about it all the time. But Kevin and I talk to each other nearly every day, but it's in the format of a text thread. And it rarely has anything to do with music. Occasionally, like the day the Billy Joel thing came out, we talked a lot about music. But
Yeah. I called Steve that day, which is rare.
yeah, he was. I was like, oh my God, is there an emergency? Do I need to fly to Florida? Are you? And then I thought, well, this is stupid. Like he has people there that are closer to him. But yeah, so we don't talk that much music. We usually just talk a lot of shit. tell a lot of fart jokes, basically.
Basically, yeah.
And it's great fun, but we don't get to hang out like this very often. So that's one of the main reasons I thought it would be fun to do and to have more talking, because we do enjoy talking shop.
Yeah, we've still to this day have never hung out in person, met in person.
I know, and yet you kind of feel like one of my closer friends.
Yeah, it's an odd thing. We've known each other for what, like 10 years now, maybe more than that.
Yeah, I mean, we really we stepped it up a little bit during the pandemic.
Yeah.
But I think our first outreach was back in the mid-teens or something. So
is this a podcast that we're doing? You know, I guess the ironic thing is that I am a podcast producer, and that is my main line of work and what I've been doing for years. I have a podcast production company. I don't have a podcast. People say, Kevin, why don't you have a podcast? It's like, I don't really have anything interesting to say, but maybe if we play music and talk about music, it could be interesting for some people. So
this is a hybrid. It's a
hybrid. Yeah.
It's a vidcast. And it also, by doing this on YouTube, we can play music because the licensure is handled through.
Right.
So if we tried to make an audio version of this and release it through Stitcher or
I'm not interested
we wouldn't
in
be
doing
able to do it.
No, we wouldn't. But
So,
anyway, so I guess to wrap it up for me, there's a bit of a, not by choice, but interestingly enough, most if not all these songs are on the closer to ballad side and slower side and sad. I guess I've always gravitated towards sad music. I don't know why.
There's a profound darkness inside.
Right, exactly. And maybe it's the words, it's the chord changes in a lot of these songs that I connect with. And like I said early when we started this tonight, I don't get to play these at gigs because who the hell wants to hear a bunch of sad music? I play a lot of really fun, upbeat, Bon Jovi, Journey, Elton John, Benny and the Jets, that type of stuff. So this last song, I'm going to save the saddest of them all for the end. And
you want to make sure there's nobody left listening when I do my last song.
Yeah, if you're depressed watching up until now, this is your opportunity to leave the show, because I'm going to play perhaps the saddest song ever written. Steve, do you want to guess what it is? I mean, there's a handful, but where would you put at the top of the list there?
Are you going to do some Gilbert O'Sullivan?
See, that's a good guess. And that's up there, but I have never really figured out how to play that song correctly, because talk about a song that's in a difficult key and with complex chords. So, no. What's your next guess?
Okay, so I need to guess something that's really profoundly sad, but not that hard to play.
Yeah. Are you insinuating that I can't play anything difficult or hard?
I think you just insinuated that a minute ago. This isn't about me.
All right.
I have no freaking idea. I'm sure I'll go, duh, when you say it, but just surprise me.
Okay. Oh, Sean wants to know if it's Tiptoe Through the Tulips. No, unfortunately not that sad. Yeah, that is sad. That's a good song. Tiny Tim, right?
Let me just get off the screen and you just shock all of us.
Well, no, I'll tell you while you're on here. I'm going to do Eric Clapton, Tears in Heaven.
Oh.
Which is, to me, I know it's like, wow, okay, that's obvious, but man, that is a song
when
that
you know
gets
the
me.
Story about it.
Well, yeah, we don't need to talk about the story about it, but it's really damn sad. And it's just a brilliant song. And there's this interview that he gave shortly after that happened with his son. And the interviewer said, have you written music about this tragedy that's happened in your life. And he just kind of leaned back and he, picked up his acoustic guitar and he played it. And it's such a brilliantly put together song, just on a musical level. It's so brilliant. The bridge, the pre-chorus is just really amazing. So this is my last song tonight, and hope you like it.
Would you know my name if I saw you in heaven? Would it be the same if I saw you in heaven? I must be strong to carry on, 'cause I know I don't belong here in heaven. Would you hold my hand if I saw you in heaven? Would you help me stand if I saw you in heaven? I find my way through night and day, 'cause I know I just can't stay here in heaven. Time could bring you down, time can bend your knees. Time could break your heart, have you begging please, begging please. Beyond the door, there's peace I'm sure, 'cause I know there'll be no more tears in heaven.
All right.
Beautifully done. I love that song.
Yeah.
And I love Eric Clapton Unplugged is one of my favorite
Amazing.
albums ever.
Yeah. Amazing.
I could think of like 5 or 6 tracks on that are among some of my favorite. I think that was my 90s album.
Yeah. It's an amazing album. Before you play, Steve, I may have to say goodbye now. Or I'm not going to leave just yet, but in case you go over, the nanny's on the clock. So I got to bolt out of my office here in 5 minutes. So just want to say thank you for those who tuned in. And if you like this, then we'll do it again. If you don't, then we'll probably still do it again. So, Steve?
I have every intention of doing it again.
Yeah, it was fun. So if I'm not here when you get back after your song, We'll talk tomorrow.
Right. You always have an excuse related to your children. That's okay.
It's true.
So what I want to finish with is I am a big fan of Paul McCartney because he does something that I as a writer, I haven't ever found this particular muscle. And Kevin, you might understand what I'm talking about here. He can write lyrics that they aren't like necessarily a super coherent story or about anything particularly deep. And a lot of people do that, but they almost always do it about love, So it's like, anyone can write a song and you'd be like, you make me feel pure. You make me feel sure. That kind of thing.
Right.
And that's fine. It makes for good songs. But Paul just never runs out of ideas to write about because he can take like the goofiest scenario and just like write a lyric about it that doesn't necessarily tell that much of a story, but it's also it doesn't take itself terribly seriously. And I could think of 100 songs
at least
the Beatles in his solo career that have a lyrical premise like that.
Just this morning, I was listening to McCartney 3. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt, Steve.
This one off of Rubber Soul.
Ah. Drive my car, right?
So anyway, I think this is the right key for it. I better pull up the lyrics because, of course, I don't know. But you have any commentary on that?
I mean, it's a great song, and the first time I heard it was on Full House.
Yeah.
Sadly to say.
Full House.
That's the first time I heard that song.
TGIF.
Oh, yeah. So, Steve, if I'm not here, which I don't think I will be,
you
thank
probably won't. I'll take it home.
Feel free to keep going. Thank you guys for watching.
All right. Well, I won't keep going after this, but I will give a little wrap up and give a proper goodbye.
Cool.
All right. Take care,
Steve.
Kevin.
All right. Bye, everyone.
All right. We'll end on a little bit of an upbeat. As the girl, no, that's definitely not the right key. This is where I wanted to be. Asked the girl what she wanted to be. She said, baby, can't you see? I want to be famous, star on the screen. But you can do something in between. Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. Baby, I love you. Told the girl that my prospects were good. She said, baby, it's understood. Working for peanuts is all very fine. But I can show you a better time. Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. And maybe I love you. Beep, 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 yeah. Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. And maybe I love you. Told that girl I could start right away. She said, listen, babe, I got something to say. I got no car, and it's breaking my heart. But I found a driver, and that's a start. Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. And maybe I love you. Beep, 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 yeah. Beep, beep. Thank you. I know this was sort of a self-indulgent thing for us to do, but it's beautiful that we have this platform where we can try interesting things out, and we'll probably do more of this in the future. And we enjoyed getting to hang out and share a little bit of it with you. And if we do more of this in the future, we'll kind of figure out how to do it better. This was very much an unstructured test pilot, but thanks for joining us. And of course, you know, this doesn't change what we do every week on Sundays. And Kevin and I may still occasionally get together and do a more traditional live stream. You just never know. But this whole talking piano, man, is a concept that I think we might want to explore further, and maybe a little more of a format and a little more of an idea of how to do it well will emerge over time. So thanks for giving us some space, and hope you enjoyed our ramblings and our songs and all of that good stuff. You know we love you guys. And since he's not here, I'm just going to use the sign-off I normally use, which is for those of you who are musicians, if you're not having fun when you're making music, you're doing it wrong. And to everybody else, make sure you're giving as much love as you can to as many people as you can, as often as you can. We don't know when the ride comes to an end, gang, so don't let it be wasted. Leave it all on the field. You don't want any regrets. All right, love you guys. I'll see you on Sunday for our normal Sunday fun day. And Kevin will be along and play again sometime soon. He just never knows when he's going to have time. So talk to you guys later. Check you later.